Absolutely. I mean, their convention is a month away. It's quite a late convention, certainly compared to the Republicans. What do you think of my little theory that ideally they'd love to get Biden re-endorsed by that convention and then talk him into resigning or not contesting, then talk him into pulling out of the race, because then doesn't the Democratic National Committee get to effectively pick a new ticket without bothering with a convention?
Look, we're in uncharted terrain. This hasn't happened before, and it's not clear if anyone really knows what's conceivable and what's not. I think their best bet, frankly, is to keep putting pressure on Biden to make the decision to withdraw from the race and then have an open convention in Chicago in the third week of August. I think that's their best bet. This would be advertising democracy to the world.
Exactly.
An opportunity for the Democrats to showcase a lot of younger, more articulate, let's be frank, saner political figures. You don't have to agree with the likes of Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, or Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, to appreciate the fact that they'd be seen as fresh. Americans like newness. And the cold hard reality is that neither Trump nor Biden resonates with independents, and independents account for about 30% of the American electorate. And although Trump is doing well now, it's not clear that he can appeal to those suburban women voters that are so crucial to winning those elections.
That's the most open and democratic way to do it. So they got 4 weeks to lean on Biden and get him to pull out, I suppose. Talking about freshness, let's talk about Trump's vice presidential running mate decision, JD Vance. I know I called him Vance before. That's the South Australian thing. You know it well. But JD Vance, fascinating figure, really the embodiment of the American dream. He's young, he's articulate, our working class boy made good. But what else does he bring to Donald Trump?
Well, he's a former Marine. He went to Yale. He's obviously a very good writer. He wrote a best-selling book in Hillbilly Effigies. The other point to bear in mind is that he represents the core base of the Republican constituency these days. So he will do a very good job of backing Trump and trying to consolidate Republican gains in those Rust Belt states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, not just Ohio, but also Pennsylvania. They're the states that Trump and the Republicans really need to win in order to win the presidential election. So he appeals to them, but he does have limited experience in government. You know, he's only been a senator for a year and a half. Mind you, Barack Obama had only been a senator for about 3 years before he was picked as the Democrat candidate. And, you know, Vance will be the youngest vice presidential candidate since, I think, Richard Nixon in 1952, when he was also in his late 30s. So, look, there are pros and there are cons. I think all things considered is a good pick because it'll signal a message to the establishment that the days of American empire are over, that America should reorder its strategic priorities away from Europe and the Middle East and focus more on Asia to deal with a rising China. That's Vance's position, and I suspect that's the view of most Republicans these days.
And that's a foreign policy direction that's vitally important to Australia, and we'll get you back on sometime soon, Tom, to talk about that in more detail. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be with you, Chris.